Hello and welcome to W Rated, where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Today, you've joined us on our road to Razzies, a special run of episodes looking at the nominations for the worst films of 2022, according to the controversial Golden Raspberry Awards. For new listeners, I'm Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by podcast co-creator, host and editor Clare. Clare, do you want to tell us what film we're talking about this episode?
Today we're looking at Morbius, directed by Daniel Espinosa, released in 2022. It currently has a 16% rating on Rotten Tomatoes for critics, a 71% audience score, and it's rated 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Quite a controversial one.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I'm quite surprised by the high audience score on that one, because I think
it's Morbin time.
It is Morbin time. Unless you've been living under a rock, I think Morbius has been just at the centre of culture for the last year.
I told you off
in a bad way.
I watched this with my housemate. So we watched it together yesterday. She doesn't live under a rock. She just lives on a different side of the internet than we do. And
that's true. I'm just conscious of the listeners that we have.
But she had no idea, and it was really embarrassing to have to try and explain what Morbin time
meant. I forget, that, my film conversations I have with people are generally, it's an echo chamber essentially, isn't it? And then you talk to normal people. You talk to people outside of that circle and you forget how something that's so prevalent in your view of culture just isn't even a speck on their periphery.
And they trolled this company and got them to re-release it, and it was hilarious. And she was just like, okay. And it's like, I had to be there.
And it's always one of those ones where you say it out loud and you realise how insignificant or silly or something is. But, for purposes of this episode, I think it's a really good point to be talking about that this was memed to death by probably most people that haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
It's Morbin time became the key catchphrase that never was.
Spring 2022, man. It was a time. It was a Morbin time.
It was all the times. They be Morbin. And because of all of these memes, was it Sony specifically? I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
Sort of saw. Now, this is a lesson. As someone who does social listening for a living, this is a lesson in sentiment and how data doesn't tell you sarcasm, for example. And they thought that all of the positive, seemingly, social coverage meant that they could have a very, very quick cult classic on their hands. Didn't perform at the box office, but all of these people are loving it. Let's re-release it and try and make some money. And then it bombed even harder than the first.
Yeah. It was rough.
A cautionary tale for marketing people all around, I think.
Absolutely, and I think it goes back to that thing that I think we notice as podcast hosts, and hello to our fellow indie podcast hosters out there, a follow and a like does not always transcribe to listeners, viewers, and everything like that. So yeah, you could have 1 million people talking about Morbius, but actually what's the conversion rate to people that are going to go and see it at the cinema? And it turns out very low. Very low.
And engagement as well. Yeah. Engagement and sort of the like you say, the volume of conversation does not equal a hit. Which is so fascinating. I mean, this was the first time I'd watched it. I hadn't gone to the cinema. I enjoyed the fanfare around it so much that I kind of knew, I just suspected that it wasn't actually as bad as everyone was saying it was, and that it was just, so I kind of didn't want to break the illusion. But lo and behold,
expected it to just be naff. I was like, I assume the trailer looked a bit naff. Yeah. Sony don't have the best run of non-Marvel movies. Saying that, I've still not seen Venom, but I was there for Fantastic Four or
I actually liked
Forastic or whatever it was called.
Forastic. I actually liked that, and I came out the cinema and opened my letterbox, as I love to do after I've seen a film, and got told I was severely wrong.
You were severely wrong. We've had this argument before.
We have.
You just need to watch The Wig.
The Wig, capital T, capital W. I think I need to go back and see where I went wrong. But I quite like Venom. I hated it the first time I watched the first one, but then I rewatched it. I was like, this is camp. This is great. like it knows it maybe it doesn't know what it's doing, but it hits a different box, and
I
you can
got the
appreciate
impression
that.
that for the second one, again, I've not seen either of them, but I got the impression for the second one it did
They
know what it
leaned
was
in,
doing
they
and it
leaned
lent
into
in.
it for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
and it was crap, but I loved it because it really pushed the relationship and the humor of just the absurdity of what Venom is, and I think, nice segue, this is what this doesn't do. There's
No, this
no
takes
levity,
itself
no humor,
so seriously.
so seriously. That being said, I will preface this as I thought it was fine, leaning more towards positive than negative, and I just can't be unswayed by expectations, because when we watch these films I'm expecting the worst, and when they're
Mm.
not, it makes me give them a good score because I'm like, guys, that wasn't that bad, so you need to tell me they're good, and then I'll be more like honest or unbiased in some way.
I thought this was a bad film. Like, I it wasn't so bad I'm screaming and crying and being like, what the hell is this? But like it just wasn't good. It took itself way too seriously.
Yeah,
It didn't really feel like it ever had any stakes or any tensions.
no,
It is
not
it
many people actually died.
no, and it seemed like it went on for days. Like felt like it
Mm.
went on for like a really long, but I could never tell when has night been and when has day been.
Oh, I
And
see what you mean.
also
In the
in the
universe, it was,
universe.
yeah. I think it was like over a space of like a week or something it took place.
And it was a bit of thing. And I also like me and my housemate Jenny were like, what time is this set in? Is it modern? Is it 10 years
Right.
ago? Like there were a
Yeah.
lot of like question marks that aren't that important if your story is enveloping and gripping. But
Yeah.
because the story wasn't, we just were
You're
like,
looking for other things to entertain you, I guess. You're
well,
looking,
we noticed the holes. We were like, hang on,
yeah.
what's this and
What
what's
made, I'm
this?
curious, what made you wonder if it wasn't set in modern time?
My housemate asked. She was
Oh,
like, when is this
that's
set?
what,
And I
that's
went,
interesting. No, but that's good. That's why
yeah,
it's good to have other
yeah.
people's perspective, because I just wouldn't have picked up on that. Something that did bother me though
Mhm.
is the fact that they tried to pass off Charing Cross as the New York subway.
Well, that was it because she was like, "Where is this set?" And I was like, "I think it's New York." Like she had a lot of like who, what, why, where
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
questions,
fair enough.
and
Yeah.
and I realised I couldn't answer them. That's when I was like, "Oh,
And
oh,"
that's when you know it's a bad film.
because I was just letting it gloss over
Wash
me.
it
I was
away,
I
yeah.
was also building a desk at the time. Let's be there's going to be a theme to a lot of these films. I built a jigsaw during one of the Razzie films. It's still not done, so that will continue. I built a desk during Morbius, so it's going to be was the film more or less entertaining than building something
That's a
else?
I think that's a good,
Yeah,
what's the word? Not filter, but a good way to weigh up,
yeah.
for sure. I
But yeah,
tend to
so
view things of how quickly do I remember that I have a phone
yeah.
with more interesting things on them, because I always sit down with the full intention to be like, just whatever it is, let me be
Yeah,
part of it. But I mean, probably about, I think it was maybe 30 minutes, which is
yeah.
relatively good for a film like this. I was just like, what's going on out there? Looking out the window, like just to look for something else to grab my attention.
I had a lot of like, and Jenny had a lot of like, who, what, why, where questions. And we
Yeah.
were building IKEA furniture. So, fairness, we were not giving the film 100% of our time. But in the flip side of that, at any point, I could like completely miss a scene and I'd look up and be like, wait, why are they on the roof now? But then I'm like, oh, well, they're kissing because it's a romantic storyline. So she's going to be kidnapped now. Like, I always knew, even though I'd
You
like
didn't
complete.
even need to watch it to
Yeah.
kind of know what was going to happen. No, I agree. It was extremely formulaic.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on the stakes part where, you've got, for anyone that doesn't know what the plot of this
Yeah, we
story
just went
is,
straight on in.
the thing is, like, when we say in the title of the episode what the film is,
Yeah.
you like to
I
think
don't
that
listen
people
to
either,
podcasts on films I've not watched. So, I
yeah,
just
I don't
assume
know.
everyone.
Let us know if you do, and you really, really want us to do the plot at the beginning. But I think we always get round to it when it's relevant. Is that Jared Leto plays this guy called Michael Morbius? Of course, that's his name. And he's dying of an undisclosed illness, like, and he needs to have blood dialysis like 3 times
Three
a
times
day.
a day? Yeah.
Anyway, he's super intelligent, he's a doctor, and he's looking for a cure. He discovers something in bat DNA that means that they can like do something with blood, because this certain bats drink blood.
Vampire bloods. Vampire bats.
Yeah. You can see where this is going. And he, injects himself with the DNA or whatever, and he turns into a vampire. But he did have a friend back from when he was an ill boy, who discovers that he's come up with the cure.
Now, I just need to really interject here because this is also where the film lost me always instantly. Was his name Miles? Was his name Milo? Was his name Michael? What was his name? Why did he have so many different names?
So this is one of the bugbears of mine, is that it's just stupid. If you want to call him Milo, call him Milo. His name was Lucian when he joined the hospital,
and then he gives him the thing that
he gives him the name
in
Milo
that bed is always Milo
as a joke, because he's like,
I've had 4 Milos.
I don't even know the original Milo.
Yeah.
You're just the new one. Like it's to infer that either I think the kids die.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought they got better, but he's like,
I got the impression that you come in and out, and there's no point in getting attached.
So I get that he then calls him Milo, and I don't know, it's kind of like an endearing thing. But then why are other people calling him Milo? That's not his name.
Dumb. I'm pretty sure the police officers at one point called him Milo, and I was like,
dumb. Because he wouldn't have Milo on it unless he legally changed his name. But that's just silly.
So thank you. I needed to.
But if you're gonna just call him, like, have him as, I feel like it had something to do with the comic book, and they've just really fumbled what they want to do with that, because it was just pointless. Just call him Milo, whatever. So he is also ill. He discovers that Michael has come up with a cure, which Michael himself calls a curse, because obviously he becomes a vampire. Morally, he's like, this isn't okay, this is a mistake. So then he takes the serum. Now you've got 2 vampires, and then of course one tries to stop the other, because one is a moral good vampire and the other one is a chaotic evil vampire. And that's it, pretty much. And there's a romantic interest
that it's kind of forgotten about and then picked back up and forgotten about and picked back up.
She just doesn't really have anything to do other than be a romantic love interest, which is a shame, because I think she did okay.
That can lead us on to what this film is nominated for, I guess, because that's a good, one to start on. It's one of the nominations. So it has 5 nominations. It's nominated for Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Jared Leto, Worst Supporting Actress, Arjona, Worst Director, Daniel Espinosa, and Worst Screenplay. And, we can get into the others, but I absolutely think the Worst Supporting Actress for Adria Arjona is completely undeserved. She's let down by a weak character and a weak script, and it has nothing to do with her acting ability. It's just a terrible character.
If anything, I think she does a good job, because she has crap to work with.
Yeah.
That, if anything, I'm like, this is quite insulting.
Yeah.
I think, and also I was just like, if anything, I think Matt Smith should have a Worst Supporting Actor. He wasn't bad, but if we're going to pick the supporting cast, one of them, it's not her. He played it campy, and that's absolutely fine, and I kind of got what he was going for. I've not really seen him in anything else. I don't personally see, he's not someone that I'm particularly drawn to, so he's not bad by any means, I don't think, given I think it's the screenplay that lets this down. But yeah, I think that was an unfair call out for that one.
Absolutely. And then we've got Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Director, and Worst Screenplay. Do you want to tackle one of them?
Well, whilst we're talking about the performances, what did you think of Jared Leto?
Well, because I was a defender of Jared in last year's Razzies. This is a return, second appearance.
Wasn't it
House of Gucci? And I
this is a very different performance.
It's a very different performance, but I felt like he was the only one that understood the assignment in House of Gucci, and everyone else was being way too serious. And I feel like maybe he didn't take my advice; he took everyone else's advice to heart. Because man, he was so serious in this.
Yeah,
he is so serious. There was no charisma, and I get that you're originally playing someone who's ill, and then you're playing someone who's dark and brooding. I don't know, man. I've watched tons of vampire shit over the year, and you can have range as a vampire.
He just didn't really have a personality, right?
No. He was a video game avatar. He was just moving from plot point to plot point.
Yeah,
with no.
That's a really good point. Because it's just you are smart, therefore you become doctor. You are ill,
therefore cure.
Therefore you are working to find a cure. And we have to have bats in here.
Yeah.
Because we're making it a comic book film. So it's as if it's just so paper thin.
Yeah.
And, I don't know why Jared Leto would have particularly been drawn to the project. I mean, this is a few years after he's done DC, so maybe he wanted to kind of reinvent
I
his
felt like
comic
he had
book.
been tied to this for a while as
Oh,
well.
okay. So maybe it was before he did the Joker stuff,
I
but
don't know, but I do know that this like took a while to get going, and I think he was always attached.
yeah, it's just an interesting choice because it doesn't. I'm trying to think. Usually he goes for things that have a little bit of not that
Mm.
comic book films and superhero films are any less than, but he does tend to go for stuff with a bit of
A bit
substance,
more arty
bit
or award
arty,
based,
yeah.
yeah.
Like
I
he's
mean,
done the Blade Runner thing.
mhm.
He he does go for a range of stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe he just wanted his chance to be a lead in Marvel. I mean,
Everyone needs to
everyone's
buy a house.
yeah, or maybe it is the money, yeah. But I don't know, it's just like I don't particularly as a cult leader, you think he'd be having
So
chances for
glad you said it and not
this.
me.
I used to love 30 Seconds to Mars and I used to
Me
love Jared
too.
Leto. I mean, he looks fantastic for his age.
Oh my god, the kill video is still up there in like top videos
Oh,
of all time. He's stunning, like all the
it's just
Shining
like he's
references.
kind
Oh,
of got everything going for him in a movie star
yeah.
department, except being able to connect with audiences.
Well, so I'm going to dip into this brilliant interview from the website Uprocks, which was an interview with Daniel Espinosa, the director,
Okay.
and I'll probably quote from it more later. It's such a good interview. But so they asked him questions. This from the interviewer. I heard a story about filming and I want to see if this is true. Someone told me that Jared Leto was so committed to playing Michael Morbius that even when he had to go to the bathroom, he would use his crutches and slowly limp
Oh,
to get to the
typical.
bathroom. But it was taking so long between for pee breaks there was a deal was made that a deal was made with him to get him a wheelchair so someone could wheel him there quicker, and he agreed to that. Is this true? Daniel Espinosa. Yes. Interview interviewer. All right. Daniel Espinosa. Yeah. Because I think what Jared believes, is that somehow the pain of these movements, even when he was playing normal Michael Morbius, he needed, because he's been having this pain his whole life. Even though, as he's alive and he's strong, it has to be a difference. Hey man, it's people's processes. Interviewer. Yeah.
I mean,
Daniel
it's classic.
Espinosa. All of the actors believe in processes, and you, as director, you support whatever makes it as good as you can be.
That's very diplomatic, isn't it? I mean, method acting. It's been around for a long time. I don't know enough about it to class. Is that in itself
That would
method
be
acting?
considered method acting,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
Because, but is it
pointless.
enough? Because
Like,
is it surface level? Is he just doing it? But is he
are
actually
you
learning
asking
from
was he
it?
drinking blood?
It's like how number one, how far do you take it? Number two, like if that's your that's fine. But I don't know. It's just you hear all these stories about him, and it's just like I don't want to like assume that it is doesn't work. But when you're a
Yeah,
bit like, surely you have empathy enough to understand how it would feel, or you could talk to
yeah.
people, or and maybe he did all that, and
Yeah.
maybe it does work or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's because his performances aren't that great, and then you hear that, you put
Well,
them together, and you're
I think
like,
like
what was the point?
you've been on more sets than I have, but I have been on a small handful of advertising sets, and like sets are manic and they are tiring and they are full of it's not just the actor, there are so many people there, and
Yeah.
they are so timed within the minute, and the smallest disruption can make a late night for everyone. So the
Mm,
fact that he was doing this and that it was causing so much disruption
mm.
and wasting so much time that they had to then get like a poor runner to get him a wheelchair and have
Yeah.
him wheeled from set to the bathroom and back again. Like, I don't know, that makes me so uncomfortable about the
Yeah, I mean,
hierarchy. And
outside of the respect that it's a genuine method for a lot of
yeah,
people, it is problematic in that
yeah,
sense because you're right. It's the impact that it has on other people, and the question of it is, how good an actor are you if you can't
switch on and off.
be switch on and off and be able to? There was nothing stopping him doing that in his own time to
Yeah,
prepare for the role,
yeah,
but to do it on set, I
on
don't
other
know.
people's time.
I'm just a bit dubious of someone's acting ability if they have to rely on that method
Yeah,
regardless. It seems a bit self-indulgent, but I don't know
yeah,
enough about it to but
yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, I don't think that the nomination is undeserved, but I also don't know if it would have been who I would have nominated either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a nothing one for me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it. It's neither good nor bad. It's just, oh, that
it
was a
just
film.
is. Like,
Yeah,
he obviously would have had to work with that screenplay as well.
yeah.
He has done kooky performances before. He's done fantastic performances before, more notably for me earlier in his career.
Hmm.
It kind of feels like he was just going through the motions with this one.
Yeah.
How much of that was up to him or just the screenplay and the direction? I think it might be in a combination.
Looking at that screenplay, it was by Matt Sazamar and Burke Sharpless, who did screen story by and screenplay by. Just having a little click in. Matt Sazamar also worked on the Lost in Space TV series. He did the
Okay.
story for the 2017 Power Rangers movie, and he did screenplay for Dracula Untold.
So I
And
think they
he,
both worked together from what I saw,
yeah,
because there was the same titles from them.
and none of those films, unfortunately, have been mad successful, but what they have all been is like very big, epic studio takeovers. And so, you know, like Gods of Egypt is another one they worked on together, and that I don't have very much memory of it, but I know it didn't hit and it didn't, you know, become very big.
Yeah,
Um,
they're a bit lackluster for what they build up. You
yeah,
know, they had a lot of fanfare around them. They had big budgets. Like you
yeah,
say, it was those. Oh, Last Witch Hunter I've seen. You
yeah.
weren't you? Didn't you watch that as well? Wasn't
I
that the
don't
one we
think
watched?
so.
Stream together. Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Mm.
Yeah, and there's just something like
Missing.
linking these together, the where you know that kind of cinema
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
where you're like, I don't really have much expectation for this. It's just like, do you know what I would describe this as, Claire? This is a classic Cineworld Bexley Heath
Mhm.
weekend film that you
Nothing
go with
else
your
on.
mates, where you're not really caring about the film. It's just something to go and
Yeah,
do, and they all have that feeling of, well, that was a movie. Okay, I'm going
yeah,
to forget about that now.
yeah,
But they probably cost a lot of money.
yeah.
So yeah.
So looking at Worst Director for Daniel Espinosa, his other credits include the 2017 film Life, the 2012 film Safe House, and a few, I'd imagine they might be Bollywood maybe
Oh, Life
films.
was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yes, and I believe so. Yeah, and that got like really high, like that's really kind of loved by people. And then Safe House is the Denzel Washington Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds film.
Yeah.
From looking at kind of this Uproxx article interview, it's really interesting. I remember reading it when it's written by Mike Ryan. Shout out to the interviewer. I remember reading it when Morbius came out, and it was quite a fair article, and it definitely makes it seem like he didn't enjoy his time on Morbius.
Right.
So he was like, he kept bringing it back to his other fans, his other films. And so he says at one point, like, about Morbius, this doesn't feel like one of your movies. And I'm curious, was this what you turned in? Is there something else? Because it feels like at some points there are some scenes missing. I don't believe for a second this is what you turned in.
Someone said that to them in the interview.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and the director replied, "These movies are big ideas."
Yeah.
And the interviewer Mike Ryan again said, "Because I think you're a very good director, and I think there are some decisions that were made that weren't always in your hands here." And Daniel Espinosa says, "You're very sweet, you're very kind. I think that I work at my best when I get a lot of decision power. But in these movies, they're big movies and have a lot of people's interests. It's different processes every time."
I
So
mean, that
kind of,
makes a ton of sense, because look at we know how things work way more than 50 years ago when it comes to the film industry, and Marvel's been under a spotlight for this for so long. I mean, Edgar Wright was set to direct Ant-Man, and he left for creative
well,
differences.
his infamous quote is, "I wanted to make a Marvel movie. They did not want to make an Edgar Wright movie."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that sums up the whole mechanism of these big movies, isn't
And
it?
there's been stuff that's been successful, like Thor with Taika and things like that, but then they run it to death, and it just
Yeah.
it's made by committee, and it always has. But there was still elements of it that worked really well, kept coming back, but now that's starting to get a bit grating for people.
Yeah.
And look, you would never turn down the opportunity to direct a Marvel film and get that exposure and get that experience
Mm-hmm.
and get those connections and whatever, but it's such a shame that I hope it doesn't affect people's careers badly, because it's not their fault, I don't think, as much as it would be on a different set.
Yeah, like when you look at, I think, is it Captain Marvel that was directed by the directing partnership who did Short Term 12. Now, I love Captain Marvel. I know I seem to
I
be kind
did.
of, but a lot of people didn't. Men and women, it's not just, it's not, I'm not talking about the trolls that were like, this is shit. I'm talking about people that were like, that was just a disappointing film. Like,
Yeah.
not troll people. No offense to troll people.
Oh
But,
no, full offense of troll people.
but I don't know what they've done since, and I think that was a big leap from them to go from these smaller independent products to this kind of big thing. Whereas I think people like the big fellas that did Infinity War and the Captain
Russo
America,
brothers.
the Russo brothers, they came from TV, and I think
Yeah.
that connection went because these Marvel movies, and not just the Marvel ones, these big epic blockbusters, have so many hands in the pie that I think when you come from TV, you're used to getting notes from the network,
that
you're
makes
used
sense.
to having a team of writers, whereas I think a lot of these kind of smaller independent filmmakers, and even not just independent, but just filmmakers, are so used to having their story, their vision, and I think the crossover doesn't always work. And yeah, it just sounds like this guy maybe didn't have the best of times, so it sucks that he has got this nomination.
Yeah,
because I think it's easy. Again, I don't even know if the direction was bad. It
I
just
don't even.
wasn't
I was
special.
about to say. I mean,
Yeah.
I always struggle, and like, I'm so sorry to directors, but I always struggle to be able to fully zone in on that as a single entity, because it's woven throughout everything
Yeah.
that the film is. It's really hard for me to single out something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get better at recognizing how to sort of critique that and stuff. But I don't think there was anything wrong with the way that the film came together and how everyone did their job from a director's point of view.
That's it. I think the issue was with pacing. So it either started with the screenplay or it ended with the editing. I'd imagine a lot of it was audio, also studio intervention. I don't really think that the direction was the problem here. I think, it was fine.
I think we identified it at the beginning that the problem is the screenplay, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it started with, whether it started with something and then it's been chopped up in the edit, potentially, but we'll never really know what that would have been. So we can only go by what it ended up being, which was just pretty lackluster, standard formulaic superhero stuff. For me, the big thing that stopped it being worse was I actually really liked the VFX.
Oh, really? I wasn't sure on them. I thought that I didn't like the face. I didn't like the vampire face.
Yeah, no, it was less about that, and it was more, I liked the movement and the
you liked the kind
them.
of paint colours.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. That was something for me that gave me something that was a little bit more, I can engage with that. I did enjoy how they were sort of bringing in the different powers that they could do rather than one montage scene of him doing all of that stuff. Some of it's a bit like, like the sonic hearing with the ears. It was like, oh god. But I really liked
called it bat hearing or something, and we're like, isn't that just sonar?
Yeah. They try and dumb it down in the screenplay by like being like, oh, so I got echolocation, bat hearing. I'm like, everyone knows what fucking echolocation is. Come on. But like, I loved that. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's because I've been playing more video games lately, but that was just something that was slightly different to the formula of everything else. And I think for me, the fact that it was vampires and it wasn't just people going smash, throw, alien invasion kind of thing, because it was smaller, it did feel a bit better as something. But yeah, it just was really going through the paces. Is that the right word? It's just going through the motions, sorry, of now we have to do this, now we have to do that, and it just glazed over in the end. I'm glad it was only an hour 40, that's for sure.
I feel like there'll be complaints if we don't touch on it. It's not anything to do with the nominations, but the Matt Smith dance scene.
Oh, I was waiting for that. The thing is, I'd already seen it on
I
social.
Actually hadn't, but I had been pre-warned. Because I had put on Twitter about watching this and Pinocchio, and everyone was like, I was like, I have to do both of them anyway, but everyone was like, do Morbius, it has a dance scene. It's like, okay.
So what did you think about the dance scene?
just made me a bit uncomfortable. I was like, I think again, it's that thing that we talked about with Venom, that Venom leaned into its campness.
Yeah.
I was like, are we being camp or are we being super serious? What are we doing here, guys? So
the tone didn't fit with the rest of the film, and also didn't really explain who he'd become as a character in his adult life, right?
He's just rich. He's just a rich guy.
Yeah, and I know it doesn't really matter, but all you needed was one line to sort of be like, just to paint him.
Because he didn't seem that bitter in the scene that we saw him in before he gets the vampire blood. He seemed like a nice little rich man.
That's what I mean. There was no clear trajectory.
Yeah.
With that, and also like, did he not have parents? Because did the head of the hospital, the children's hospital, need to be the one doing his dialysis every day? Because I think if it ended up being he became such a strong attachment to him because he was vulnerable as a kid, and Michael was still always the favorite because he was in his shadow, which is what they said, but they didn't show it in any way.
Yeah, they just told us at the end, this is why I've always hated you, even though we were best friends 2 hours ago.
Just silly and lazy, to be honest. Like, show don't tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Something.
So, worst picture. Agree, disagree?
I disagree, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say I just looked at my kind of least favourite films of the year.
It's a cohesive film at the end of the day. It just suffers from boring more than anything.
Yeah, it would be in my last 10 of the year, in fairness. But
I was just thinking, let me have a look at mine.
I still don't know if it really is the worst thing I've ever seen. I've definitely seen 100 work, but then that's the point of nominations, isn't it? Because a lot of the films nominated for Best Picture, I'm like, they're not the best I've seen, but they're not bad.
Yeah, and I think this always is a good point as well, is it's just my least favourite. It's not, for me, it's not objectively the worst, like I can point out why it is bad. It's just not something that I enjoyed.
Yeah, like when I rank films, it's a combination of, was it good technically? Did I enjoy it? Yeah. Would I want to watch it again? Because it has to be a combination of all three, because there are some films which are so technically beautiful, but I'll put a trashy film above them because I'm like, well, if you told me I had to watch one of them again tomorrow,
exactly.
I want to watch the
trashy one. This is the thing with art. There's so many layers to it. There's the objectivity and the subjectivity. But I can tell you now that one of the other films that we'll be discussing was fifth from the bottom of my list of 2022, and it was out of 60. So
one of them is 61 out of 62 for me.
Wonderful. Looking forward to finding out what that one is. But yeah, no, I think worst picture it can get away with.
Yeah, worst actor, Jared Leto.
Nah, again, I think it just suffers from Jared Leto being Jared Leto.
No, it's because it suffers from the whole film being too serious, and he went along with the I am serious Jared Leto man.
And he just didn't really add anything different. That could have been anyone doing that, and controversial as he is, you'd like to think because of that he could bring a little bit of star power to it, but
he's an Oscar-winning actor.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just a bit like, okay, all right.
Yeah, at least to House of Gucci, he was doing something. Apparently, I was the only one that cared for it, but he was doing something. He was a Gucci. Okay, worst supporting actress, Adria Arjona. I think we've both agreed.
Absolutely
nonsense. Not. Typical Razzie sexism. Whatever.
They're like, we have to fill. No, I reckon it is. They're like, we have to fill this category. What other films have we seen that have already got loads? Let's just stick one in there.
And I will say, in fairness to the people that do the ballot, I do a ballot for a different awards thing, and I saw a lot less films this year than in the past few years. And there were a couple of things, especially in supporting actor and actress, where I was like, I don't know. I think I nominated 3 people from Top Gun because I was like, I just don't have people to fill the supporting actor slot. And I was like, right. All the ensemble cast.
It's silly that you
great.
Have to, rather than just nominating what you actually think should be nominated for stuff.
Well, and I think that's the pressure then, because I could have just left them empty, but I was like, no, I want to use my slots, and I guess it would be similar. Okay, worst director, Daniel Espinosa. It's a definite no from me.
Yeah, I don't think he particularly did a great job, but I don't think it was his fault.
Yeah, I don't think he was allowed to direct.
I think he just delivered on what he was there to do.
Yeah,
essentially, and he had to deal with Jared Leto, so like
he had to tell some poor runner that's probably paid less than minimum wage that their job for the day was to wheel Jared Leto.
If anything, he should get brownie points for having to deal with that.
Yeah.
So. And how gracefully he handled that interview.
That interview, yeah. And I will try and remember to link that interview in the show notes. And then 5, worst screenplay.
I would say so.
It's a lazy screenplay for me. It's not worst, it's lazy. It's lazy, boring screenwriting.
And I'm just thinking, you know, I can only compare it to what else I've seen in that year, because the whole point is that it's specifically for 2022, right? And I'm looking at the bottom and I'm like, the things that I didn't like about the worst films there aren't screenplay. They're the other technical aspects.
See, my one was screenplay. My worst film of the year was The Adam Project, and that just
really,
I just thought it was the most boring, lazy, half-assed film. I just thought there was nothing going on.
Yeah, it's quite mid for me.
So yeah, I would say the screenplay was better in this than that, but I would agree
enough.
that it's not a strong screenplay; it's a lazy screenplay.
It's just so formulaic. Yeah. It's as if, why are we doing this? Like it is.
What's the point in telling this story?
It's become a factory now. We just need to produce another one to get bums on seats, and I think everyone's starting to catch on to that now. And I can't say I'm particularly ever excited at the moment for new Marvel stuff. The only reason I'm excited for Ant-Man is because of Paul Rudd. And there's a guy from the sketch show called I Think You Should Leave. He's like got a cameo.
People love that show.
Oh, it's wild. It's absurd. But there's the guy, for people who are listening, it's the a good steering wheel that doesn't whiff out of the window when I'm driving. That guy. For all the people that listen. He's just a really, really old Italian guy, and he's just he's wacky and weird, and he's brilliant, and he's probably got the tiniest cameo in it, and that's the only reason I'm excited. Otherwise, I'm like, right, I'm going to be going in watching the same film with a different skin on, as I have done every year.
Hoping for at least 5 seconds of Judy Greer screen time.
Oh, is she in this?
Well, she was in the first 2 because she's his ex-wife and she's the mother of the daughter.
That's true. That is true. I forgot about that.
You know, she was also in the first Jurassic World movie, and she never came back to those. So
maybe that's what that was missing. Or pop a pin in that one for a later episode. So so we're going 1 out of 5 for the noms, which really, really reduces it. You know, we've spoken about this today. This is one of the highest nominated films, but so I guess let us know if you agree, if you think it should have been nominated for anything else, if you really loved it and thought maybe it was a different kind of award nomination it deserved. We'll see. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you can join us for the next episode, where we keep running down that road on the way to the Razzies 2023. See you then.